Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, John June, and welcome into the show. And if you're listening to this podcast and podcast platform, then those guests, well, you guess what? It's August, and you know what that means. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, then you already know what it means. That means that our guy, Greg Pennamon,
Yes, sir.
is back. Greg, what is good, man?
You already know what's good to the fantasy people out there. Your boy is back. Off season is over, like my man J. Cole said, but we still punching the clock every day here on the off season. So we here, we back. Hopefully better and stronger. Can get some fantasy chips. Get the people fantasy chips, man. It's just good to be back. Rock and rolling, man. I'm happy. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, and we're back on YouTube. So Greg
it's
crazy. Had to figure out what he was wearing today.
I know,
man,
yo,
for
it
the
was
first
wild.
time.
2030 up in here. I'm repping the college today. University of Rochester. So we advanced. We came a long way. Just keep moving forward.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, man. And so it's August. We're 2 shows a week now.
Yes, sir.
And we're doing our positional breakdowns, which have been a huge hit with our listeners over the years since our inception. Greg, would you believe a week from today, this Tuesday right here, would be 2 years?
Oof.
2
years,
crazy.
Man. I was in a whole different outfit, whole different setting, whole different everything. It was crazy. It was a whole different person.
Right? Absolutely. But now, we've given some people a lot of chips in that time, and we plan to give them some more, man. And if you haven't been listening or you're just checking in with us, just finished up some divisional breakdowns, did all 32 teams across all 8 divisions. All of those are on YouTube. Every division is in a podcast platform. So if you want to check that out, then definitely go check that out. But today's positional breakdown. So we're talking about the quarterback position, and you're going to get our top 3s. We're going to reveal our top 12s. We're going to get our sleepers, our busts, breakouts, and our my guys. So definitely want to stick around for that. But before we get into that, Greg, there's some news that we have to cover.
Yes, sir.
And so if you play for the Indianapolis Colts, you might want to watch your feet. They are on notice. Quarterback Carson Wentz needed to have foot surgery, and the timetable for his return is 5 to 12 weeks. Quentin Nelson is apparently also dealing with the same foot injury that Carson Wentz had the same surgery performed on him, and he too has an obtuse timetable, Greg, of 5 to 12 weeks.
That's tough, man.
What are your expectations, Greg, for the Colts as they head into 2021?
So before those 2 injuries, I thought it could have been a potential bounce back year for Wentz, in a new system, new face, but definitely with that injury, dodge a bullet for the Eagles side. I honestly think that hit to Quentin Nelson was probably even a bigger impact though for the whole team wise, running the football and just getting the offense going. He is an absolute beast on that offensive line. So I think that was more of a hit for that team, especially for the backup situation. Hearing a lot of rumbles about quarterbacks might be coming back. Austin Rivers. If Rivers is coming back, but maybe we'll see. But yeah, it's definitely a big blow for them. Definitely the ceiling for the Colts is now knocked down tremendously.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. Quentin Nelson's a big blow. I mean, Carson Wentz is a blow, but Quentin Nelson, that's a real big blow, man.
Yeah.
I mean, also affects our guy JT in the run game a little bit too, man. So don't think I didn't catch that basketball slip, man.
The
Austin
Rivers. I know. Phillip Rivers. We here.
Oh man. All right, man. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into the juice, man.
Yes, sir.
But before we talk about the future, let's talk about the past a little bit. Let's just recap the top 12 quarterbacks and total points for 2020. Just refresh the minds of everybody real quick. In total points, Josh Allen was the QB1, Aaron Rodgers QB2, Kyler Murray 3, Patrick Mahomes 4, Deshaun Watson 5. Then we had Russell Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins, and Matt Ryan. I know we usually play this game, Greg, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Who do you see most likely having the falling out of this top 12 right here?
It's tough for quarterbacks because, offenses are just getting better and better. It's more offensive driven league. Quarterbacks are not really fluctuating too heavy. Last year I did say Aaron Rodgers, and I was totally off. So uh, this year I think we'll go with another veteran quarterback. Not to say he's still going to do a fine job at the quarterback position, but he's going to fall off a little bit. I think the Julio Jones hit to Matt Ryan will be very impactful to him. I think, still with Calvin Ridley, still with Russell Gage, who's going to impact and improve a little bit. But Julio Jones, just that extra juice that you need, one of the greatest receivers to ever step on the field, it's going to hurt a little bit. So I think Matt Ryan is going to drop a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins were the two guys. Not like to your point, like not to say that they're gonna fall off a cliff and fall outside of like QB 16 territory per se, but I think those guys probably, when you look at Matt Ryan, like you said, the loss to Julio, that maybe caps some of his upside there. Obviously, they do have, like you said, those receivers, and they got Kyle Pitts, who, but anyways, like Julio Jones definitely capped some of that upside. And then with Kirk Cousins, obviously the Vikings, they don't want to be in the game script that they were in a lot last year. They're going to try to be more balanced. They don't want Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, 580, 600 times. They really want to lean on Dalvin Cook in that run game and be a little bit more balanced. So maybe that's why I would lean towards those guys being most likely to fall out. I mean, there's the easy answer here too, Deshaun Watson. I mean, but
Yeah.
yeah,
We don't want to give the people layups here. We don't do that. We make them want to think. But yeah, that whole situation is just.
Yeah, I mean, we might get into it later. I'm just saying. But anyway, let's talk about these quarterbacks, man. Let's talk about these top threes. And we know how it goes, man. We're gonna find out eventually if we have a disagreement here in the top three, and that's when we get a debate here, man. And so I'm assuming that there's no debate about who our QB1 is.
Oh man, you already know.
It's got to be Patty, man, the $500 million man. Oh, there we go.
Yes.
We need to cut that, make that a drop, just play it, man. Save your vocal cords for the.
True. Saying every time with the raspiness is nice, but just to hear, I could save my voice a little bit for more of these words. So yeah, Patty.
But he was phenomenal once again in 2020, completing 66% of his passes, 4,740 passing yards, 38 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions. Good enough to finish as the QB2 in fantasy points per game, behind only Dak Prescott at 24.9 points per game. Coming off a Super Bowl loss to the Tampa Bay Bucks, the Chiefs went out and made a bunch of additions to the offensive line, adding Joe Thuney at left guard, Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle, adding 2 rookies in Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. They convinced Kyle Long to come out of retirement. Also get Laurent Duvernay Tardif, who was in Canada fighting COVID last year. So I'm left wondering, Greg, for a player who was so good last year when his offensive line was quote unquote bad, someone who evades pressure as well as he does still is able to make an amazing play. I'm left to wonder if there's an opportunity here that Mahomes can reach a level that we might not have ever seen him reach before, with the possibility out there. There's no way I can't have him as my QB1. And personally, for me, it's not even close.
Not even close with the improvements that the offensive line made. I mean, we talk about that quarterback number, the elite of maybe 1% of people to get that 50 touchdown number. That's kind of the number that we're kind of seeing. I think for Patrick Mahomes, at least I have him right under that. I have him around 40, 45. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to 50 this year. He's Patty. Like he keeps saying, there's levels that still haven't reached yet mentally. Like he keeps thinking he's going to get even better and better, and I believe him. So I mean, there's no reason. Andy Reid is out there just drawing up more and more plays. McCall Harmon getting better. His contract year, these receivers going to come out and show out.
Nah, absolutely, man. Even if these receivers don't show out, he's got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. That's really all you need. Those guys combined for like 3,200 yards. But, like you said, man, Mahomes, he can get to that. I mean, like, you can't project Mahomes for 50 touchdowns, but like you said, you got him at 45. I got him at 44. Like, he's going to be real close, man.
Yep, yes, sir. He's going to be real close.
It's going to be real close.
Yep.
And so definitely, like if there's a season where I'm like, yo, maybe I might go quarterback early, I mean, look, you obviously know the price that you're paying because the opportunity cost and like you really have to hit. But Mahomes is the greatest that we've seen to
Oh
do it.
yeah.
So like, if there's a player that's gonna hit, it's probably him. But man, Greg, why don't you let the people know who your QB2 is, man?
Oh, you already know. I'm gonna have my man. He's back. He showed out in the camps, coming through. People bashing him for trying to show out, but he loves what he does. He loves to be with the kids and loves to teach them everything. Going with my man Lamar Jackson out there. He's back. Yes, you already know. I got him. Going for the 33 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. But of course, you know where his money is made, running routes out there like he was a receiver too. But his rushing as a quarterback is where he makes his money. I got him running for over 1,000 rushing yards, getting 7 touchdowns. Just being an absolute beast, and also still improving in the passing department. I think he wants to get better there. He truly does, and I think he will continue to keep his touchdown rate up and keep a high IQ, making better decisions. We heard some rumblings out of the Ravens camp that Rashad Bateman is going to take a bigger leap. So I think definitely that's going to help him for sure. And Mark Andrews and them guys for sure is going to help him with J.K. Dobbins getting more receptions too.
Nah, man, I love it, man. I really do because I thought we were gonna have a debate here. I really thought that you were gonna have somebody else in this spot, but I'm right here with you, man. I got Lamar Jackson, and I like everything you were saying. I mean, people talked about him having a down year. He completed 64% of his passes, just under 2,800 yards, but he had 26 touchdown passes to 9 interceptions. Also had the 1,000 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. Like he's my QB2, just ahead of Josh Allen. And, even in Josh Allen's breakout season, his touchdown rate was still lower than Lamar Jackson's. And I don't say that to discount Josh Allen or anything, but if the Ravens are, in fact, telling the truth about wanting to become a bit more balanced, wanting to pass the football, then Lamar Jackson could take his passing touchdowns up to some, which would boost his upside if he were to take those passing touchdowns up. And then, like you mentioned, Rashad Bateman. They also drafted Tylan Wallace in the 4th round.
Sammy
They tried
Watkins.
really Sammy Watkins. And they tried to upgrade even bigger at the wide receiver position, making a run at Juju Smith-Schuster. So like his Lamar's career high in pass attempts, 401, which is 2019, which we know he only played 15 games that year. And they obviously were in a really positive game script for most of the year. And we saw games where Lamar Jackson was sitting in the third, fourth quarter. I've got him projected this year 468 pass attempts in 17 games, which amounts to just about one more a game. And there's room for more in this offense. And if at the even if at the worst, Lamar Jackson does not take that step up as a passer that we're thinking of in terms of like the amount of volume that he gets, he'll still rush for 1,000
Yeah,
yards.
for
So,
sure. Yeah, that's the automatic.
so
The
he's
plays he's
going
gonna
off the
make.
board
Yeah.
QB4 according to 4for4's multi-site ADP and Fantasy Pros. Where no matter where you get the ADP, whatever, he's going as QB4. To me, he's a QB2, no questions asked.
Yeah, especially you brought up the point where he wasn't playing third quarters and stuff. He's in a way that division is just getting better and better every year. You got arguably the best division in football, along with the AFC West, and now he's going to have to show out and he's going to have to put the team in the back to win 12, 13 games.
No, absolutely, and that's a great point because the division is much better. When you look at the Browns, you look at Cleveland, you look at the Steelers, like they're not slouches. So he's gonna have to be in these games, these competitive games where he's might have to get in a couple shootouts. We saw that Browns game on Monday Night Football,
Hmm.
the poop game, but my man had to show out, and it was because of the high paced game. But let's move on to the QB3, man. I don't know if it's different than me, but I got Josh Allen. Had a phenomenal season last year, finishing as the QB1 in total fantasy points. He was the QB3 in fantasy points per game. He absolutely balled out in 2020. I mean, I can't say I was low on him because he was my QB7, but no one saw the year he had coming, completing 69% of his passes. That was the first time at any level, high school, college, NFL, that he completed over 60% of his passes. He had over 4,500 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, also added 421 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. He really took it to another level as a passer, adding to the floor that he provided as a rusher. If we're being completely honest, he and Lamar Jackson are separated in my projections by basically a point. and I just lean towards Lamar Jackson because, like we talked about, that 1,000 rushing yards. That I know that that's safe. You could take that to the bank, and so I've got them in the same tier, and you could take either one, but I just prefer Lamar at 2 and Josh Allen at 3. What about you,
Yeah.
Greg?
Yeah, I have actually was going to put Josh Allen too because they were separated by on me for about 7, 8 points, and just the MVP swag that Josh Allen kind of had, even though he didn't win the award. Just I think he kind of has rumors to be an MVP favorite this year. But I'm gonna go. I have Josh Allen at third as well. We're in agreement at the top three. Just the year he came off of, the confidence that he has, I think he definitely continues it this year with Stephon Diggs, getting him more passes. And they kept improvement at that at that level. They don't want to lose. Zach Moss is going to get better. Gabriel Davis is going to take that improvement. I think that little leap. So it's going to be better for him. Emmanuel Sanders, they made the sign there. So they've really honed in on just trying to get better at the receiver position and just getting deeper.
Nah, definitely, man. And Josh Allen definitely, like I said, took that leap, and I think people ask like, "Oh, is it real?" I think it's very real. Like I don't think
Oh
Josh
yeah,
Allen
oh yeah, because
is
he has his rushing as well. He has his rushing aspect, which gives him his floor, especially with the touchdowns. He's basically their best running back in that goal line area, red zone area. It's Josh Allen time.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh Allen is the Buffalo Bills goal line running back.
Yep, yep.
All right, Greg, I'm gonna just run through my top 12, and then you can go ahead and give the people your top 12, man. So obviously we ran through the top three. I got Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen. We both have the same thing. But at 4, I've got Kyler Murray. 5, Dak Prescott. 6, Justin Herbert. 7, Russell Wilson. 8, Ryan Tannehill. 9, Aaron Rodgers. 10, Jalen Hurts. 11, Tom Brady, and 12, Matt Ryan.
About the same, little slight differences. I got, of course, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen at 1, 2, and 3. Kyler Murray 4. I have Herbert at 5. I gotta have him in my top 5. Yeah, Herbert juice. Yes sir, yes sir. Birdman hand rub. You already know. I got Dak Prescott at 6. Of course, he's still gonna be there. I think they kind of maybe lean on Zeke just slightly more. Aaron Rodgers at 7. Russell Wilson at 8. Brady at 9. Tannehill at 10. Joe Burial at 11, and Jalen Hurts at 12.
That's what's up, man. I like the Herbert call. I mean, I think I don't know, man. I'll still take it. I'll say it to this day, man. I don't know if there was a podcast or a group of people
Facts.
higher on the Herb, man, than we
Facts.
were. So much I had to get him on the wall.
This is a avid Jets fan. Like, this is all the quarterbacks that come through, all the people that he's loved. Herbert made it on the wall. That's how you know the impact of the Herb. The impact, man.
Oh man, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this wall this year, man. Definitely know that. But we gave the people our top 12s, man. Let's get into these busts, man. So Greg, go ahead, tell the people who your quarterback bust of the 2021 season is. And this is not a fun thing to give out. We say this every year, but I'm gonna say it again. It's not fun to give out. And when we say a bust, we mean somebody that is going to underperform or disappoint at their current ADP. So that being said, Greg, I laid down the floor for you. What's up?
Yeah, so we were talking about, that top 12 that you were saying who's going to drop out. And I did mention Matt Ryan. He's going in the 10th round right now, 10-10. Just the people below him. It's more about that. I think that Trevor Lawrence, I think I can see myself drafting before him. Now with the Carson Wentz news and that he's going to drop below that. But I think also Baker, I think can, make some rumblings of getting to that area. I do think Matt Ryan will finish right outside the top 12. I just think this year he won't be that top 12 quarterback that everyone's expecting to be. The Matt Ryan impact, the Julio Jones impact will get him a little bit.
Yeah, no, and I don't hate that because, like you said, it's about the people going behind him. You know, we always say go for upside with your quarterback, and there's not much upside with Matt Ryan, like we've seen, especially in those games, those Atlanta losses. I mean, obviously it's a new coaching staff and whatnot. But I say Atlanta losses. Either way, we've seen situations in games where Matt Ryan just completely disappears. It's the
Yeah.
times where if his offensive line can't block, his day is done.
Yeah, I remember last year us mentioning like, oh, no Julio, oh, no Matt Ryan. Like there was games where like, oh, well, this is what happens. The impact that he had to run his games. And if he's not getting touchdowns, like passing touchdowns, then you're basically screwed for that moment in that game. You have to rely on him to get at least 2 or 3 for the game to make it a decent day.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, this is funny because I actually didn't have a problem. I don't have a problem with really any quarterbacks ADPs.
Yeah, it's
I
very
think
solid.
they're all priced pretty appropriately. I think the fantasy community has done a good job and I think what it is that these guys with that rushing upside, they're being drafted where they should be, whereas in other years they would have been values. And so I think they're all priced pretty appropriately. So I know you talked about no layups before, but I'm taking the layup, bro. This is probably the easiest call I'll make in this category all year. But I'm going with Deshaun Watson, man. And this has nothing to do with obviously the on-field performance, but it's just a matter of if we'll get him on the field. And according to 4for4.com, he's the quarterback 19. And on Fantasy Pros, he's the quarterback 17. I know it's a late draft pick. We're talking about round 11 or 12. And I know, like me personally, I always say it doesn't matter what you do with that 10th or 11th or 12th round draft pick. You're just going to cut them anyway. But that's the problem, is you're not going to drop Deshaun Watson.
No. You're going to hold. You're going to hold, trade, see what that's happening, send out rumors and any tweet that come out to the chat to try to, see if you can do something with him. You're definitely not. The pride in me will not just, if I draft him, you're not gonna drop him.
So because the thing is, you're gonna be holding out hope, and he's just gonna clog your roster, and it's gonna stop you from adding a guy like James Robinson, Justin Jefferson, or Justin Herbert. And so for me personally, I value flexibility, and so for that reason, I'm out on Deshaun.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, no one knows. He doesn't know. There's no Woj or Shams out there to tell you exactly when Deshaun Watson's coming back, or Ian Rappaport. So I wouldn't take that risk right now. With the allegations that he's facing are very serious, and the NFL has taken it very seriously. In the last couple of years. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play a game this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they had their first full pad practice, and Deshaun Watson was not participating. This is and the trade rumors. I don't see a team trading for Deshaun until this entire situation is resolved. So, yeah, like I said, for that reason, I'm out. But let's get into the quarterback sleepers, man. And I'm gonna go real simple. It's real vanilla. It's Kirk Cousins for me.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, he's going off the board as quarterback 18 right now, and I don't think that's crazy value. But I've just gotten, I'm slightly higher on him, but somewhere in the same ballpark. I have to imagine though that in your average one quarterback league, nobody wants Kirk Cousins.
No, if you're right. If I'm in the one quarterback league and he's right outside the top 12, that means he's a bench quarterback where I'm getting a waiver. You do want someone with the upside in that, especially that rushing, and Kirk Cousins isn't that. So yeah, it would be, you have to again rely on him to get the 3 touchdown game. And we're talking about how Vikings want to change that game script a little bit. So if they're not in shootouts, then Kirk Cousins is going to a little struggle.
But the thing with Kirk Cousins is he has been efficient, especially, and then you add Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen to the mix, and then there's the possibility that Minnesota's defense actually doesn't get better.
That's true. Yep.
And so, he had 35 touchdown passes last year, 13 interceptions. 35 touchdown passes was a career high, had over 4,200 yards. He was the QB 11 last year. And with the weapons around him, improved offensive line, he could sneak into the top 12 again. I mean, it's not impossible, but I also think that he's a guy that you can draft. Like, you don't even have to draft him, right? Because you could, after the draft, maybe even, or, you could draft him with your last pick, start him for a couple weeks, and then maybe, you pick up a guy like a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance or one of these other high upside guys, and maybe try to transition middle of the season.
Yeah, definitely with the Vikings and Kirk Cousins, he could definitely have the sleeper potential. He's definitely going to be on, when we do the waivers of the week, waiver quarterbacks of the week, Kirk Cousins will be mentioned multiple times. So that just shows right there the value if you get him around where he is. He's going to give you some top 12 weeks.
Absolutely. Greg, what about your sleeper, man? Who do we got?
I'm reaching real deep in the bag right now. I have faith that this improvement, my man, famous Jameis is coming back, man. The famous Jameis is here, famous Jameis, he's improving. You know how I'm a big fan of, the workout videos. Some of the people JJ Watt be calling them fake sometimes, but nah, Jameis Winston, his workout videos are real. This man is working. He's coming back with the vengeance. I think he's going to win the starting job over Taysom Hill. We don't really know how that's right now. They're both going 27, QB 27 and 28, just basically at the end of the drafts. So if that's a free starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints under that system, I think I would take those opportunities. And Jameis Winston's a guy that he can throw 30 plus touchdowns in this league. If I'm assuming that he improved those things. His interception rate just a little bit. If he does do that, he will get you some top 12 weeks. He even got that with the high interception rate. Imagine if he can just bring that down a little bit.
Nah, man, I definitely like that one. The problem with the Saints quarterbacks and their price is that no one knows who's starting, and so that's baked
Right.
into their price. But
Right.
if you can get the right guy, and it's kind of just betting on the guy you believe. I mean, I have faith in this offense, kind of no matter who they roll out,
Right.
because we saw to be effective with Taysom Hill at times last year, even though people kind of clown on him. But Jameis Winston, I think, under the tutelage of Sean Payton and Drew Brees last year, I think that he can make improvements. The thing that does scare me is the Michael Thomas news, but I think Jameis is going to be out there. I mean, that just means he might be out there slinging
Oh
it
yes,
anyway.
he like he's been slinging it to no name receivers in Tampa Bay, other than not Mike Evans, what you call it, um, is it Mike Evans?
Mike Evans and
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
bugging out. Yeah, I don't know why I'm bugging out, but yeah, so
it's the
yeah,
basketball, man. It's the
I
basketball.
know, Bashard Perriman, stuff like that, so he can sling it to whoever receiver he needs to.
Yeah, nah, no doubt. Let's I want that breakout quarterback though, Greg. What's up, man?
For breakout, Strawberry Fields forever. My man Justin Fields. We here. We here with Justin Fields. I got him. Coming in. I don't think he'll be able to start right away. I do believe that they're going to try to initiate Andy Dalton at first. But I think as a guy that you're gonna get in those later rounds. Right now he's going at QB 21, round 14. I got him coming in probably by game 4, at least game 5. If they're not really doing anything, Andy Dalton is just your average quarterback. He's not bad, not gonna win them too many games. But the Bears route, I think they want to get Justin Fields going. I think when he comes in, he'll kind of give that not the the Herbert juice. That was such a high impact, but I think he can get some comparable numbers to that because of the rushing. And I think also he's very accurate down the field. The rushing, isn't his huge strength point, but I think his passing is where he's going to make his bread. And he's got some weapons there in Chicago, so I think he's going to get it done.
Nah, man, I totally agree, man. Justin Fields has been. I had him penciled into this spot to be honest for like all season, and then because of the Bears and their commitment to Andy Dalton, I kind of cooled off on my. Bro. You know how much I love Justin Fields. I'm just like.
Oh yeah, I already know, yeah.
So,
Facts.
yeah, I'm with you, man. I big time with Justin Fields. I think just from you're right. He doesn't while he is an athlete and has that athletic ability, he doesn't depend on it like some of these other athletic quarterbacks, some of these other mobile quarterbacks. He likes to stay in the pocket. He's almost like Russell Wilson to an extent where he
Yep.
wants to stay in the pocket for as long as possible. But if you force him out, he will go out and he's dynamic when he gets in the open field. And I
Yep.
think that reason alone, he's worth rostering because especially with rookies, when they don't know what they're seeing, they just I'm out of here. And so you got an offense where he's got Allen Robinson, he's got Darnell Mooney, he's got that rushing upside. I think at worst, right? Like you're looking at like you said, the situation where we saw Herbert last year. I mean, that was obviously really good, but Herbert finished as the QB9 in total fantasy points, QB 11, I believe, in fantasy points per game. So I think that's definitely within the range of outcomes for Mr. Justin Fields. And so for my quarterback breakout, I could have gone in one or two directions. stealing a page out of either of the last two seasons from myself, basically. 2019, it was Lamar, the second year breakout that could have had, has obviously the rushing upside. In 2020, I chose Joe Burrow, the talented rookie who could have made a number one, made impact in year one as the number one overall pick. And when it came to the decision, I basically was, on this same wavelength. But now it's showtime, and I have to choose one of these guys. And so I'm going with the second-year quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Extrapolating.
Ooh, Hurts season.
It's going to hurt so good, man. Extrapolating can be a dangerous game, but it's really fun to do when it makes your point, when it helps make your point. So,
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, let's go with that. In 3 full games where Jalen Hurts was a starter, obviously not taking the game where he entered in for Carson Wentz, or the weird game where they kind of, whatever they did.
Yeah.
In those 3 full games, he started. Hurts, completed less than 55% of his passes. That's the bad part. Whatever. But 4,500 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 11 interceptions to go along with 1,269 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground.
Ridiculous.
That easily, by far, would have been the QB1 in fantasy. By far. And similar to Lamar's rookie year, it's difficult to try to implement this offense on the fly as opposed to when you have an entire offseason to do it like the Eagles have had. Now, I know there's some concerns about whether he can be the guy for the future, but I'm not really concerned about that right now. While the defense that the Ravens had in 2019 with Lamar Jackson was obviously much better, I think that could actually lead to more pass attempts and potentially some more hero ball situations, which, if Jalen Hurts does that like we saw last year, the upside really comes out. We saw him in some shootout games, and I think, Philadelphia made the point to upgrade some weapons as well, get Devontae Smith in there, a former teammate of Hurts at the University of Alabama. I think that Hurts is in for a big time season here, where I think a QB1 finish is just kind of locked and loaded, guaranteed.
I have him on my QB12. I think, is one of many times it's probably happened this year. But I have him on my QB12. I think he's, going to be able to finish at that mark. The moment he came in the league last year, was started, both of us were saying, get him on that lineups, get him on start on the waivers. The rushing upside is just so much there. You talk about the hero ball, the Eagles. I think an Eagles quarterback just has to play that hero ball sometimes. Carson Wentz did it a lot last year, and there'll be a lot of situations where Hurts will have to do it. I just can remember that game against Kyler Murray where both of them were just making plays like one after another. And if you put him in that game, that's his ceiling is QB1, especially for a specific game like that. So he's gonna ball out her season. I've never probably appreciated the Eagles player so much right now. So, and he's got Devontae Smith, the receiver. It's crazy. Roll Tide Eagles right now.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts did finish his college career at Oklahoma.
True.
That made the Kyler Murray Arizona game even that much more interesting.
Yeah.
But I actually remember that game because basically that game won me a decent amount of money, and Jalen Hurts was my quarterback start of the week, so it was a good week.
Yeah, it was a good week. Yeah, good week.
But let's move on to my guys, man, because we called this ride or dies last year, but every time I would post something about it, someone was like, "Yo, what a ride or die?" So we said, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna go with my guys, man. Forget it." So my guy at the quarterback position this year is Ryan Tannehill, man. Ooh. He's been quite the quarterback since taking over for Tennessee as the starter. His numbers during that time even rival those of Patrick Mahomes. Since taking over for the starter in Tennessee since week 7 of 2019, he is 8th in completion percentage, 67%. 1st in passing yards per attempt, 8.5. 3rd in passing touchdowns with 55. 5th in touchdown and interception ratio with 55 touchdowns to just 12 interceptions. 3rd in passer rating and 3rd in offensive touchdowns. That's since taking over for the Titans in 2019. He completed 65.5% of his passes last year, 3,819 yards, 33 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. And so much was made of the losses of Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith. But now he gets Julio Jones. So He also makes plays with
Stop
his
playing.
legs. 43 rushing yards, 43 rush attempts, 266 yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. He was the quarterback 7 in total fantasy points at 21.5 points per game. And while he does lose Arthur Smith, I think Tanny is shown to be a good decision maker and a field general. And I think with the weapons around him, playing in a division with 2 bad defenses that he'll play 4 times, along with the high scoring games against the Cardinals, the Bills, and the Chiefs. Tannehill was top 6 in fantasy points per drop back. He was second only to Aaron Rodgers in passing fantasy points per drop back last year. Tannehill is one of the most efficient passers in fantasy, and I think that continues in an offense that just added a Hall of Famer in Julio Jones. Drop the mic.
Stop playing, man. Just added Julio Jones to all those numbers you just added. All those numbers were out that man. So yeah, you sold me on that. I like the Tanny drop. We got Patty. Now we could get Tanny in there. We're gonna have just add a bunch of wide these players. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. But yeah, Ryan Tanner, that's a great call. He's definitely been slept on as an upper echelon quarterback, I think, in this league for a long time, and he's definitely getting his due respect.
Adam Gase will do that to you.
We made it 50 minutes with the Adam Gase drop.
Hey man, it's never gonna stop, man. It's never gonna stop.
But yeah, I think I like Ryan Tannehill for sure, and yeah, he should be a good play this year, week to week. Go draft him.
All right, Greg, what do you got for your my guy, man?
This year, last year, we don't want to talk about my guy last year. That's why it was called Ride or Die. We changed the segment, because now
we died.
we did. We died. We died. So on a new light here, my guy. You already know. It was. I probably should have just said it last year. Joey B. It's gonna be Joey B. Joe Burrow this year. My guy. Definitely. Of course, the number 1 draft pick for the Bronx Elite in our dynasty draft. So just my heart is there with him, with Joey B. He had a very good year last year before he got injured and tore the ACL. Completion percentage is at 65%. His touchdown rate was at 3.2. I think he will bump that up this year. Especially, and I think he'll be more confident, especially with the weapons that he put around him. I want to say the O-line that they kind of put around him, but they did improve the weapons around him. So they got T. Higgins, of course, Jamar Chase, the probably one of you argument the best 3 right now, and we'll see what Jamar Chase could do, but I see no reason why he won't put out when he gets on the field. So if you add those weapons, the amount of run throws they're gonna have, I think they're gonna have a great season. Joe Mixon as well, getting those receptions and continue to be that guy in the running position. So Joey B, Joe Burrow, let's go.
Nah, man, I love it, man. Joe Burrow, the trifecta, as I like to call him. I don't even remember why I called him the trifecta anymore. Number 1 draft pick, Heisman Trophy winner, and a national champion. Only him and Cam Newton. That's what it is. So love me some Joey B. Definitely agree, man. I think the sky's the limit for him when you add what they've done in this offense. And we had DFS with Dan McCullough talk about the Bengals, and he talked about how T. Higgins has apparently lost some weight. He's gotten faster. Ooh. So, that adds to the downfield threat. And then the fact that Jamar Chase comes in, and he's a guy that apparently Joe Burrow had to sell the Bengals like, hey, you're not just getting a dominant receiver. You're getting a guy that is going to come in here and know the playbook on day 1. He's going to know exactly where he's got to be lined up, exactly, with the stem, the route, the positioning, everything. He's a true pro in that sense. And then it got me thinking, like, Joe Burrow has been talking to Jamar Chase since, like, before the draft, bro. Like, he probably knew the whole offense before he even got drafted. So I'm definitely in on Joey B, man. I know he's your guy, but I'm gonna be here rooting for him too. We got to finish that breakout that he promised me from last year. So
of course he will. Not breaking the knee this time. We're gonna break out.
Break out.
Break out on the field. Yes. Yeah.
Maybe he just misheard me, man. I know he was listening to the pod.
True.
He probably misheard me. So Joey B, just show out. How about that? Show out.
Yes. There we go. Yeah.
Greg, let's get into some ADP game, man, because we know it can get a little fun. we agreed on almost everything today, which almost never happens. So we got to disagree on something.
I know, it's true. It's true. It's, the quarterbacks have been kind of consistent from year to year, and offenses are just getting a lot better. Definitely the base will come in those running backs and wide receivers for sure.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know, man. It might get a little crazy then too, because I think we might agree on a lot of stuff. But
Sure,
anyway,
sure.
let's get into the ADP game. I got one for you. I feel like I already know what the answer is, but I'm gonna ask it anyway for the people. Want to hear the thought process behind it. Herbert versus Russ, man. Justin Herbert going off the board is the QB6 at pick 506. Russell Wilson going off the board as pick 507 as the QB7. Herbert was the QB11 in fantasy points per game, while Russell Wilson was the QB7. Who you rocking with, Greg?
Started off with a very hard one. Oh man, that is a tough one. I really think there is no wrong answer here. But I'm gonna just go with the ceiling. I'm gonna go with that Herbert buying that Herbert ceiling. Talk about this guy that he's still, I mean, second year, so he's going to have some type of like improvement somewhere in his range of outcomes, and then I think that's where it comes is with the rushing. This is why I have him in the top 5. I think he gets more rush attempts. I think he gets maybe more touchdowns in that goal line situation. I think that's some area that Russell Wilson's kind of defined wherever he's his rushing, which is still going to be great. But Herbert, I think, is going to look to run more, be more aggressive in that area. The coaching staff is going to let him unleash him. So I'm all in on buying on the price of Herbert and getting you some chips.
Nah, I agree wholeheartedly here. I mean, I've been plugging away at Justin Herbert basically anywhere that I can when the price is appropriate because like we said, we were all over him last year, but I think there's potentially more here. Like you were saying with the rush attempts, I think we see more because we know the athlete that Justin Herbert is, yet the Chargers refused to use him in that way last year at times, it seemed. And so I think you have a new coaching staff here, Brandon Staley. He seems to be a very smart coach. He hired Joe Lombardi, who comes over from New Orleans. So he's going to implement some of what they do. I mean, obviously, we know what they do with Drew Brees, but they've got some stuff in the playbook from what they do with Taysom Hill. So maybe they incorporate some read option in there. And I think that we see instead of a team that was last year, Justin Herbert was the best thing the Chargers had going for them, yet they constantly tried to play around him, which didn't really make sense. I mean, Anthony Lynn, he was a running backs coach, former running backs coach, so probably had this mindset, played for or coached for a defensive-minded head coach in Rex Ryan, so probably had that like, oh, we got to run the ball, protect our rookie quarterback. But it's like, bro, your rookie quarterback is the reason why you are even in games to begin with. And so I think we have a coach here in Brandon Staley that's going to realize that. And I think on the other side, you have a coach in Pete Carroll that just fired Brian Schottenheimer because he didn't run the ball enough. And so so I'm gonna go with the other guy here in Justin Herbert. Yeah, let's move on to another.
Yeah,
let's move on to another one, man. I know this one. I look. Let's just jump right into it. Tua versus Derek Carr. Tua Tagovailoa enters as the QB1 for the Miami Dolphins, and many are expecting the breakout. Going off the board is the QB21, Derek Carr, who finishes the QB18 in fantasy points per game, averaging 17.5 points per game. But he was the QB13 in total fantasy points. Going off the board is the QB24. So 21 and 24. Which of these two trigger men do you want, Greg?
For 21 and 24, if I'm at that range of the QB, around the Tua range, I think I'm keep drafting. I'm gonna keep drafting players. So I'm leaning towards the Derek Carr, going with him. Just I think in that division there are going to be a lot of opportunities for him to get some shootouts in the AFC West. It's got a competition to put up numbers. Derek Carr, has. I remember last year he definitely had some waiver wire weeks where you're like he's a waiver wire stream of the week. Tua, I don't know if I have said the same for him. He's always going to be in very low scoring games. I think that's the system they want to run where they're effective at it. and hopefully getting their running backs involved, the gas man and everybody. So I'm gonna go with Derek Carr for the cheaper price, and I think we'll get you the similar numbers to Tua, if not better.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with you. Dude, why do we agree on everything today?
Yo, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like these are no pre meetings about all our answers. Like this is fresh off the cuff. Like, and so it is crazy. So maybe you're just in sync right away.
Crazy, man. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm with you, bro. I'm just not in on Tua. I just have not been in on Tua. I have not, like, since college, since he got to the NFL. When I first watched him play in the NFL, it's just he doesn't do it for me.
Mm.
And while I understand like that he might be good, like not good, but he might be like okay. I don't want to say okay, but I understand that he could be a better real life quarterback than he would be a
Yes,
fantasy quarterback,
that's
right?
very
And I
yeah.
think that that's a true statement.
Yep.
And I think that there's no upside here for me with Tua, right? Like Devontae Parker, he was hurt. He just got back. Will Fuller, he's hurt, and then he'll be suspended. But I mean, he'll obviously come back hopefully from both. And then Jalen Waddle, who they drafted, apparently has been making plays in every day in camp. But I just don't think Tua has enough upside. He's not even he improvises, but he's not really a rusher. Not like some of these other guys. So when it comes to that, I'm just kind of out on Tua. And so for that reason, I'll be with Derek Carr, who I can see a world where, okay, he'll have 4,000 passing yards. He'll have 27 or so touchdowns. Maybe he'll throw less than 10 interceptions. He's got Darren Waller. I'm okay with the receivers that they have over there. Yeah, I'm good with Derek Carr. I mean, like you said, there's going to be some weeks where he's going to stream him, and then there's going to be weeks like, hey, he's playing Atlanta this week. We should totally play.
Yep. Yep. And we'll be definitely saying that more than I think a 2 a week, or just in general, they'll be in not as higher over unders and higher game scripts as I think the Raiders will be.
Yeah, no, I agree there. I mean, I had Taysom and Jameis written down just to see what you were doing, but obviously we know what you're doing.
Yeah,
so
taking that famous Jameis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning towards Jameis as well because I just don't believe that Taysom will be the starter, and that's really what this decision comes to about, right? Like we could think honestly, if you told me Jameis was starting and Taysom was starting for like the Saints, and I could pick the alternate reality of either one of those, I would pick the Taysom Hill one. Like,
word.
Right? Like I would pick the Taysom Hill one because I know, like, all right, I'm gonna get at least 17 to 18 points from my quarterback.
Yep.
I may not get like the 33 that Jameis might get me, but I know I'm gonna get 17. So I'm gonna rock with that. And that's just kind of how I operate when it comes to quarterback, because I know that those passing touchdowns, when they do come, that ceiling comes with it. But that's where I'm at. Do you disagree with that statement, Greg?
No, I think Champagne, that's what he's going to bed every night thinking about that. Like, who's going to give me the more wins too with that alternate reality? I think Taysom Hill does lean toward maybe a few more wins. So I think that's what's stopping from pulling the trigger on Jameis.
Yeah. So we got another quarterback competition, I should say, in Denver. Drew Lock. I know, but hey, man, 2 quarterback leagues. Somebody's gonna have to make this decision.
Oh man, Drew Lock and Teddy. Oh man.
So they are literally the last 2 quarterbacks.
Wait, they get drafted?
I mean, they have ADP data.
Okay. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I mean, Drew Lock's 36, Teddy Bridgewater's 35, just ahead of Andy Dalton and Jordan Love. So, what do you basically?
Can I say Tyrod Taylor? Can I just take Tyrod Taylor or something like that?
This is basically to ask you, who do you think will be the starting quarterback? But which one of these guys would you believe in?
So it's funny what I was doing by numbers and projections. I really had them almost at like not a 50-50, but kind of close as far as snaps, like the Ryan Fitzpatrick Jameis situation in Tampa almost. I just don't think both of these guys will impress the coach staff enough to hold the starting job down for a consistent amount of time. I think Teddy does start week 1. but I don't think he stays the starter week 1. But then I think he does come back to start again at some point throughout the year. I think it's gonna be a messy situation. If I had to, Dad, this is really hard.
No, bro, this is scary. Like, we have not talked about any of this, but I feel the same way.
No.
I feel like exactly what you said. They're gonna start out with Teddy Bridgewater, and then they're gonna be like in a game and probably losing, and they're like, "Oh, how do we come back from this?" And like, "Oh, Drew Lock, go in," and then Drew Lock's out there just slinging it.
Yep.
Like, "Oh, what happened with that throw?" Like, I have no idea. And then it's like, "Oh no, that's a bad one," and then it starts throwing some interceptions, and they're like, "Oh no, Teddy, get back in there." So I can see this just being a mess the whole year because they literally from like yards per attempt, completion percentage, like they're almost the same player. The only difference is Drew Lock throws or Teddy Bridgewater doesn't throw touchdowns, but he doesn't throw interceptions either.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And we're like, Drew Lock will throw touchdowns, but he'll throw just as many interceptions as he has touchdowns. So it's like pick your poison.
Yeah, you talk about how they're all those similar numbers, and they're all like at the bottom of all those numbers. So like of all the quarterbacks, so it's just like, it's just I'm gonna go with Teddy though. I think Teddy's not gonna lose me a week more often. So I'm gonna go. Like if I need, like sometimes I might need just 10 points. Just give me like 10 points from quarterback. Like Drew Lock might not get that. So I'm gonna take Teddy.
I mean, in all honesty, at that point, if we're talking super flex, you just start somebody else.
True. That's true. Start someone else.
Just go start a wide receiver. Wide receiver 3.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, basically that's our way of saying we want nothing to do with the Denver quarterback situation.
Yeah, we were trying to be nice. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Just draft your quarterbacks early if you play super flex.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, man. That's all we got, man. Quarterback breakdown. It was the first show on YouTube with the two of us here together. So, this is crazy. So we definitely appreciate y'all. We appreciate the love and support. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribing to the Apple Podcast, Google Play, Spotify, whatever. And also make sure you leave some comments. What did you think about our quarterback breakdown? Let's talk about it. Other than that, everybody, we appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all on Thursday, or I guess it will be released Saturday for the running back breakdowns. And until then, we're out of here. Peace.
We out.